The law of the I Am is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the I Am is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the I Am are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the I Am is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the I Am is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the I Am are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold. Sweeter than the honey and the honeycomb. That is Psalms 19, verses 7 through 10. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the I Am, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. He shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season, and his leaf also shall not wither. And whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Psalms chapter 1, verses 1 through 3. And this book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, and that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein. For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then shalt thou have good success. All praises to the Most High. We thank God for His Word. We thank God for the words of wisdom, that if we begin to obey the law, statutes, commandments, ordinances, and laws of the Most High, we will prosper. We will have peace. Yes, that's what it says. There's promises in keeping the law. What promise is there in keeping the law of your God, Jesus? There's no promises there. You're raised from the dead, but what about now? What about today? God promised you today in the law that He has given unto the ancestors of the Judeans and the Israelites. There's a promise. Not for the next life, for today. For those that are us living today. For today, he that follows commandments and statutes and ordinances of the Most High will prosper and have good success today. The world's supposed to keep the Sabbath. The Sabbath is a universal law. Period. It is. The Sabbath is a universal law. That was for the whole world. But the rest of it, he told Israel, throughout your generations, you shall keep this law, or these laws. We're in the book of Levi. This is a book that really gives the historical account of Levi, what the Levites should do. The Levites were like the police, the judges, and ministers unto the Most High, just like you have your governors and your other offices in your pagan societies, which many of the Israelites and Judeans live in, and most of have due to the sins of the God have warned. This warning is not just to those. This warning has played out in many areas. When is the curse over? The curse is over when you start obeying the commandments, statutes, and ordinances of the Most High. That's when the curse is over, whether it's individual or whether it is collective. All your curses are over because you have curses because you violate Deuteronomy chapter 28. The curse part. Now when you get through doing your curses and those who died or executed, then you can go to the first part. Blessed Blessed is what God says. God ain't playing with you, Israel. God ain't playing with you, Israelite. He's not playing with you. He never was. And you can tell that by the things that the Israelite and the Judean has suffered. You can tell these things. And things that we have, those of you that have walked in paganism of Christianity, those of you that have walked in paganism of Islam and the paganism of other pagan religions. The first commandment, thou shalt have no other gods before me. You'll bow down to your Jesus and praise your Jesus and your Yahusha and your Hawashai and all this other stuff, and you forget about the Creator who exists. There is no beginning or ending to him. There was an end to that Jesus. There was an end to all of them. They are created beings that are messengers before the Most High. Yes, he's omnipresent, but also he uses his messengers, his spirits. He uses them for different tasks. And the task is never ending as long as there are Satans and there are human beings. Until that great day when he begins, when our God, the word of he always saying he. God is not a man, remind you, and neither is God female, very so, mind you. Yes, and now we're in the book of, should I say, Leviticus. Leviticus, the book to the Levites, yes. This is the book to the historical account of the Levites, what God said to the Levites. It's not the book of the law. No, none of it is the true book of the law, because the book of the law has the laws in it, period. We don't have no historical stuff in there. It just has the laws, as far as I'm concerned. So we're going to start in chapter 20 again. And we're going to go down to, we're going to read 25 again. Nevertheless, let's go 23. Again, we're going to go to 23 and we're going to continue. And ye shall not walk in the manners of nations which I cast out before you, as they enter into the land. For they committed all these things before, therefore I abhorred them. This is the reason for the laws. The nations, Egypt, Hamites, the Canaanites, Perizzites, Jebusites, the Hittites, all the things that are mentioned that God says do not do to the children of Jacob. This he abhorred the day he looked upon the children of men and saw what they were doing as far as these sons of Ham. The sons of Ham were very filthy. Even today, you go into Africa, among the sons of Ham, you find out there are mixtures of obeying the law and mixtures of the Hamite abominations. There are mixtures of it. You look at it, you separate it. This is why it's so important that we learn the law. This is so important that we meditate on the law day and night. That way we can discern between good and evil. We can discern what pleases God and what does not please. We can discern between idolatry and serving the only one and true. I am he that exists. Yes. He says now, and the land floweth with milk and honey. I am. He's talking about goat's milk, mind you. Not talking about cow's milk. I am your God, which have separated you from other people. This is why the world thinks God wants them to do all this. No, you can do it if you want to be with God and inherit the blessings of Israel. But you can go with your Christianity and all the other stuff that you want to do and do your Sabbaths on Saturdays. Still, I don't care whether you're Israelite or not. When you do Sabbath on Saturday, you're pagan. Saturday only. Now, sometimes the Sabbath, mind you, falls on a Saturday. Sometimes it falls on a Sunday, according to the new moon. The new moon is when the moon first comes out, just like a new baby. When it first comes out, it's small. You see its head. It's just barely getting into this world. It's new. This is what is described by the new moon. And every 7 days after that new moon is the Sabbath until the next new moon. So it behooves you to find out when the new moon is in your area, your continent, your city. Because it appears at certain times because of the shape of the earth. As a matter of fact, the moon has to travel. Yes, it does. And he says right here, as far as the law, he says, but I have said unto you, you shall inherit their land, and I will give it unto you to possess it, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am that I am your God, which has separated you from other people, as we said. 25, ye shall therefore put a difference between clean beast, what you eating, what are you eating, and unclean, between unclean fowls and clean. What is the difference? Scavengers. God abhors you eating things that eat dead things. Now, fish is a whole different story. He gives you a account of fish the fish that has scales and fins. Yes, that you can eat. You shall not make your souls abominable by beast or fowl, or by any manner of living thing that creepeth on the ground, which I have separated from you. Now, he's talking to the Levites here. This is who he's really talking to. But didn't he say unto you, you shall be a kingdom of kings and priests? Therefore, you have to go by this order to a certain extent too. Just certain things, because you are not of the sons of Levi, you cannot go by all of it, because it's only the Levites can approach unto the throne of the Most High. And he even gives them a law which they have to adhere to, as far as clean and unclean. Now, ye shall be holy, clean, holy. In other words, one who's separated unto the Most High. For I am that I am, holy. And ye have severed you from this. See, it's the whole thing. The children of Israel, whether you be Judah or the other 10 tribes, the other 11 tribes, should I say, I have separated you, is what he's saying. I have separated from you as unclean. In other words, you to be clean. That's what he's saying. This is the law. Ye shall be holy. This is a commandment. Ye shall be holy. For I, the I am holy, and have severed you from other people. No, you were set to be confused by the heathen, by the Christians, by the Muslims, by the other things about what you eat. Now, God have already given you what you should eat and what you should not eat. You don't have to worry about all this other stuff, because God gives you that, and if you're obedient, you will be healed. You will be healthy if you eat those things only that God have prescribed unto you, Israelite. He said, and no man, in verse 27, let's go 26. He said, ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the I am holy, and have severed you from other people, that you should be mine. What is the mark of a child that belongs unto the Most High? They don't eat scavengers. They don't, should I say, walk in whoredoms or whoremongerings. Male, female, I said female, whore. Female is what, promiscuous female. You talk about your whole phase. Your whole phase. Your whole phase is not even, is an abomination unto the Most High. God would rather that you walk in your virginity. You train your children to be virgins, even your male children. You have to constantly do maintenance on their mindset, that they may be virgins. And when they're able to marry, that you have saved your money to pay the price. See, in Africa and other places, they have what they call a bride price. These people are just Christian. This is just their tradition because of what they have seen the Israelite do. There's a dowry of virgins which they have adopted into a bride price. No. You're not a virgin. You're taking that which God have entrusted to the Israelite. Whether you call yourself Igbo or whatever, down in South Africa, the bride price is only for virgins. If you want to put it that way, the dowry of virgins is for virgins, period. There is no bride price, but there's a dowry for virgins. Now, whatever you do after that is your business. Your traditions that you have made up. It is pagan. Now, let us continue. He said, you're mine. You're going to make a difference. There's a reward for being a virgin, or for the father making sure his daughter does not date a man. Dating is only whoredom. You're whoremongering and you're whore. You don't date. You'll talk to a woman. A woman will talk to a man, but the fact is you will only do it in utter, should I say, openness. There's no private kissing and all this hugging and stuff going on. No. Now, when that day of the wedding comes, then you're before everybody. You're going to be having copulation, not before them, but behind the closed door before them. And the mother goes in, she takes the cloth of her virginity, gives it to the father. It has blood on it from busting the hymen. Because the man is going to be there and the hymen is to be bust, period. This is a testimony that my daughter was a virgin. That's what it is. It's a testimony. Now, if that doesn't prove right, and the husband proves that this was not a virgin, she played the whore. Anything that is not a virgin and then married is a whore. Oh, well, no, that's Christian talk. That's pagan talk. Yes, and the man is a whoremonger. No intention to be married. And the Bible gives a prescription for that. Or the law. Ain't no Bible. The other part of the Bible, the 27 books are nothing. They are borrowed tools. Your Isis, your Yahushua, your Yahusha, all made up entities. They're lies. You're pagan. Okay. He says, now, you're mine if you separate these things. A man also, or a woman that has a familiar spirit. We talked about that earlier. A spirit that is familiar with different things. And all these spirits are, but if a spirit is familiar with a certain thing, he can remind you, or he can tell you about yourself or your past. And many of these preachers or so-called pastors may have familiar spirits. And that they can tell you your past. Oh, he's a man of God. What God is he a man of? You better check yourself before he wreck you. Now, here we go again. That is a wizard, or that is a wizard shall be surely put to death. This is what he tells the Levites to do. They shall stone them with stones, that their blood shall be upon them. Not upon the Levite, but upon them who have sought out familiar spirits in order to make themselves seem as though they're a god. Let's move on here for a little bit. Now, and he tells the Levites never to be, in verse 1, in verse 20, chapter 21, verse 1, he says, and I am spake to Moses, speak to the priests, sons of Aaron, and say unto them, there shall be none defiled for the dead among his people, but for his kin. So Yes, you can be defiled for the dead for your kin that is near, in order to go bury them, to touch them, to pick them up and put them in a hole in the ground. He said that is for his mother and for his father and for his son and for his daughter and for his brother, your near kin. And even for his sister, a virgin that is near unto him, which have what? No husband. For they, in other words, woman, what he's saying is that, look, to be a clean woman, you have to be a virgin throughout. If you never get married, still there should not be a man that have entered into you at all. Oh, that's too harsh. That's too harsh. Yes, it is harsh. It's solid. Because these are the things that the nations did before Israel that God abhorred. You give something away that is not yours. And man, here you are copulating with something that is not yours. Whether she be a concubine is just like a wife. She's a person, a girl that's going to be there. She is actually married to you, but not officially. That's what that's supposed to mean. An unofficial marriage, she will be, whether you have one or two, or she just a concubine, is a woman that you don't want to marry officially, but she is yours. Her children are yours. You will provide and do all those things for her just as you would a wife, except for she who have not went before. This is a woman probably that had other men or an husband before. That is what they would classify as a concubine. But it is better for you to die a virgin than to die a whore. Or it's better for you to die a wife than die a whore. It's what the Bible, this is what the law is saying, period. I'm not making this up. But he that shall not defile himself, being chief among his people, to profane himself. Now let's keep going. He's saying to the priests in verse 7, Leviticus 21 verse 7, they shall not take a wife that is an whore. This is the priest of the Most High. You will not have a whore wife. You will not take a... Now the prophet, he took a whore. That doesn't pertain to the prophet that God said go marry a whore, because he was not a Levite. But he says, thou shalt not take a wife that is a whore or profane, neither shall they take a woman, put her away from her husband, for he is holy unto his God. Now this is where you come with this Jesus stuff. Oh, she that married, she that divorced and remarried. No, this is to the Levites. Now God wants his people to be as the Levites. All of the Israel to be as Levites. Whether you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wives, if you can afford them, and you have the maturity to deal with them, yes. He says, you shall not. If you're dedicating and you're totally dedicated to the point where you just totally into the Most High, you will not take a wife that is a whore. A whore is anyone that have had a man before marriage or other than marriage. That is a whore. Oh, we just dating, we just trying to test the water. You a whore. You a whoremonger, man. There's no water to test. Marriage is for a certain reason, that you might bear fruit, that you might do those things and bear those children after your kind. That's what marriage is for, primarily. To reproduce. And it's also it's a pleasure. God made it a pleasure, the Most High made it a pleasure that you might reproduce pleasurably. And thou shalt sanctify him therefore with the offering of bread of thy God, and he shall be holy unto thee, and I, for I, the I am, which sanctify you, am holy. God is telling us in the law how to be holy. He's telling the Levites how you can be holy to approach unto the holies of holies, even the high priest, and how you can go in the sanctuary where no other Israelite can come, how you can get closer to him where no other Israelite can get closer to him. This is what God is saying. This is the Levitical law. He said, he that is now let's keep going. He's talking about the high priest here. The high priest will make himself pure in this sense. You can't have all the rest of Israel in sin, committing all kind of whoredoms and adulteries and all these other things that are going on, and then call themselves clean. No, only Christians do that stuff. Oh, God forgive you. Yeah, God will forgive you for that part, yes. But for adulteries, no. And a whore among the Levites, no. You will be burnt with fire. In this narrative here, that before they entered into the land, this is the law of the land. This is the law of the Most High. He that created all, or should I say, the I Am that created all things. And here he gives, in verse 18, he gives the blemishes. Blemishes is anything that's not normal on the body, is what he's saying. I don't even believe it means blemish. This is a translator's error, because many people are going to have spots and marks on them, period. He shall eat the bread. Now he says, now, let's go to 21. We're going to go to 21 now. This is for the Levitical priesthood. There are some Levites among us, those who were born in the lineage of Levites. They just don't know who they are, because Deuteronomy chapter 28, period. Leviticus chapter 22. Yes, let's go to 22. He tells that one who would walk most holy before the Most High, that they separate themselves. That's what he's telling you. Separate yourselves. And that's what he's saying. Now we're going to keep going here. I do this sometime candidly. Let's go to 23. Yes, well, let's go to 23. Yes. Now he talks about the feast days. Now you listen, many of you celebrate the feast days. I will not celebrate the feast days until God put me into the land, if I am worthy. Yes. I ain't celebrating none of these things, because we do not have Levitical priests. There's a formula to this. He said, this is the law of the Sabbath and the feast. 6 days shall work be done, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Most High in all your dwellings. 6 days. On the 7th, yes. And these are the feasts of the I Am, even the holy convocations. We're going to stop it as we finish this. Which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month at evening is the I Am's Passover. Yes. And the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto the I Am. 7 days must ye eat unleavened bread. And the first day ye shall have an holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work. In the first day ye shall have, what are those 15 days? The first day ye shall do no servile work, but ye shall offer an offering made unto fire unto the I Am. He's talking to the Levites to do this. 7 days, and the 7th day is a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. And the I Am spake to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel. Now, we're going to stop there. You talk about the feast days. Understand what is involved, the formula, and see that you build the temple according to the pattern that I have shown thee, he said to Moses. And that's the same thing he shows you, the pattern of how he wants you to serve these things with glory and honor toward him, or toward the Most High, the I Am, and with gladness of heart. The gladness comes from doing and being obedient. And we cannot do that if we do not have our Levites. which the Most High has appointed. You can't appoint yourself a Levite priest. You have to be born in it. And there is no rebirth. There is no born again. That's a bunch of lies. It's another lie that is told. You're physically born to be a Levite, period. And if we do those things that are right before the Most High, we will have peace.